And I was like, that was so stupid. I was like, that was the stupidest thing I could have done. Hey everyone, my name is Jackie. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a review, my 1 month review for Amazon Flex. I'm going to share with you the good, the bad, and the scary. Yeah. Before we jump into my honest review about it and whether I think it's worth it and if I'm going to continue doing it or not, I wanted to talk to you guys about just the numbers in general. So how many blocks did I end up doing? How many hours did I work? How much did I make? How many miles did I drive? And how much did I spend in gas? Okay. So like I mentioned, basically 1 month worth of deliveries. My goal was to deliver at least once a week. And I was just trying to pick up like the 3-hour block. So I ended up doing a total of 6 blocks within that time frame. So I had maybe 2 weeks where I did 2 deliveries. So 5 of them were a 3-hour block and 1 was a 3.5-hour block. So if I was just focused on the time that I was scheduled for 18.5 hours. However, I finished all of them early with the exception of 1. I have a video about my worst day where I went over about a half an hour. I only spent 15 hours actually delivering. So I had 3.5 hours where I was basically scheduled, but I finished early. Like I mentioned, you pick the time frames, right? I did not deliver any of the groceries or anything like that. I only delivered from a logistics location with boxes. Okay, so for those of you, I know a lot of times you have like the instant offers where you get paid. You can get paid quite a bit more, but those are usually the groceries. And I don't really live in an area where I can go to the grocery area like to do that. And I've already done grocery delivery, so I don't really want to do that anyway. So the main reason I wanted to try Amazon Flex was because of the handling boxes rather than like bags of food. For total, I delivered 259 packages. So if I average that between the 6 deliveries, each time I delivered, I was averaging about 43 packages. Now there were some days where I might have had a little bit more or a little bit less, but that was the average between the deliveries. That was pretty much the max for my car. Like any more than that, I don't think I would have been able to fit too many in my car. Now just because you have 40 something boxes doesn't mean you're going to 40 different stops. I would usually have more like maybe 35, 38 stops. Because some places, they'd have more than 1 package being delivered. So I made over those 6 deliveries, I made $357.50. If I divide that up between the 15 hours that I was working, I averaged $23.83 per hour. Not bad. Now I know, again, a lot of people try to do the instant offers where you can make more than that. I was just taking pretty much the base pay because, again, I wanted 1 day a week, and there were, I originally was like, oh, I'm going to be getting Tuesdays, but I only got 1 Tuesday out of that month. I ended up having to get on different days, so we'll talk more about that. So how far did I drive? So I had 1 day that was really bad. It was over 100 miles. All the other days weren't really that bad, but total I drove 238.9 miles total for those 6 deliveries. So if I divide it up between the 6, that's averaging about almost 40 miles per delivery, but that's not realistic, what I did personally. So again, I had the 1 delivery that was like 100 miles. So if I subtract that out, and then I just divide the other ones up with the balance, then I actually average more like 27, 28 miles per delivery. So I don't think that was too bad. So how much did I spend in gas? I ended up spending $48.81 in gas. How did I figure this out? Well, basically I would start my shift, I'd go fill up my tank, and on my car it tells me the range. So it said my car for a full tank of gas would be 310 miles. My tank size is 13.4 gallons. So what I did was I took the 310, divided it by the 13.4, and that tells me that currently I'm averaging 23.13 miles per gallon. So then what I did was I took how many miles I drove, the 238.9, and I divided that by the 23.13. So that means I used 10.32 gallons of gas. Okay, so obviously depending on when you're driving, the cost of gas and all of that, then this could fluctuate. Obviously because of the price of gas. But in general, I filled up about 10 gallons worth of gas. I just put the average of the gas price during that month was about $4.72. So that's how I spent about $48 worth of gas. Now, when you're doing your taxes, you can write off, you can either itemize out the expenses for your vehicle, so you can write your gas, oil changes, tires, maintenance, all of that stuff, and you itemize it out. Or you can take what's called the standard mileage deduction, and that's usually what I end up doing. You are responsible for your own taxes, but you can also write some stuff off. So I always write off my cell phone because I have to use my phone to do the job, and then I take the standard mileage deduction, which I think it's 56 or 58 cents per mile right now. If I drove 238.9 miles, if I times that, let's just say 56 cents, that means I can write off $133 worth of gas, even though I only spent $48, right? So I get to write off an extra $85 worth of gas or wear and tear that I didn't actually spend. So what you do is you take that mileage deduction, you subtract it from what you made, and then I subtract, my cell phone is $30. So out of the $357, I'm only going to be taxed on $253. Now, I'm married, I file jointly with my husband, I have other sources of income, so usually everything gets all put together, and most of the time I don't end up owing any taxes because my husband has already paid taxes through his employer, and he's usually overpaid slightly, which offsets any self-employment taxes I might have. But definitely consult a professional if you need more assistance. Also, keep in mind, when you are self-employed, you know, if you live in the US, you're going to be paying your Social Security and Medicare times 2, because you're going to pay as the employee and as the employer. But that's why the government lets you write off this stuff, to lower the taxable income, to kind of offset what the employer would have paid if you were working a regular job. That probably doesn't make any sense, or maybe it makes perfect sense. But again, ask for help from a tax expert if you need help with that. But in general, those are the facts, those are the numbers. Within your app, you have ratings. So I am in the highest of the great rating. I'm almost fantastic. I think I would have been fantastic if I wasn't late on that one block, but that's fine. And then I had compliments. So in the app, you know, the customers can compliment you. So I thought that was pretty cool. Okay. Now let's talk about the good, the bad, and the scary. So I want to talk about the scary part first, because this last incident is probably going to be a big factor of where I deliver, or if I still deliver. On my last delivery, I ended up rejecting at the warehouse, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But the delivery before that, I almost got attacked by 2 dogs, and it was very scary. So I was delivering, I got stuck going out to Buckeye. So I'm in Arizona, I forgot to mention that earlier, but I was heading out to Buckeye, and again, it's more horse properties. And the problem with the horse properties is that a lot of times there's animals that could just be out. Maybe the gate's not closed properly, or they can get over the gate or whatever. And this particular trip, I think, became my worst day over the other, because I made a video about my worst day because I had to drive that 100-something miles, and it took me an extra half an hour, and that was up in the mountain horse properties. But this time I'm out in the horse properties again, and there's a lot of animals out. There was a dog out. It was kind of more of a puppy, a cute little dog. Was actually trying to get in my car, and that was fine. He was cute. I got him out, you know, not a big deal. But then I'm at another property, and I'm in my passenger seat reaching to get my packages. I hear these dogs barking, and then now they sound like they are right behind me. And so I look over, I go very slowly, and I glance over my shoulder, and there's a Doberman Pinscher and a small white curly-haired dog. I'm not really sure what kind of dog it is, and they're just sitting right behind me. They're standing right behind me, barking at me. And I'm like, okay. I don't have dog treats. I know a lot of people are like, oh, have dog treats handy and this and that. I don't. I did have mace in my car, and my husband's like, you should have maced those dogs. But the only thing I thought was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. So I had all these boxes and bags on my seat over here. So I kind of pushed them off into the driver's side, and I climb into my car and I shut my door. So I call the customer through the app, hoping they're home and they can just corral their dogs away and I can deliver the package. But they're like, oh, I'm about 10 minutes away. And I was like, well, I can't sit out here for 10 minutes and wait for this person to get home. Looking back, I should have continued delivering and then came back, but I didn't. So he said, oh, they're fine, they just bark. You know, I called him, I said, hey, your gate's open, the dogs are out, you know, they're barking at me. And he's like, oh, they're fine, they're just barking, their names are, you know, this and this. And I was like, okay. They're like, oh, yeah, they'll be fine. And I'm like, okay. So I get back out of the car, and they're barking at me, and then I say their names, and the Doberman stops barking and kind of starts to walk back towards the gate. But the little white dog, he's up on me, like he's following me to the door, barking at me, but he's not touching me. Okay, that's fine. I put the package down, and then once I turn and I start walking to my car, that's when all hell breaks loose. And this dog is like the yelping, biting at my ankles, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm just trying to walk calmly, you know, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna get bit by these dogs. And then the Doberman goes ape shit behind me, and I don't know if he's coming at me or he's coming at the little dog, but it sounds, the bark is different. It's no longer a barking, I'm protecting, this is my house. It's like, I'm gonna rip your face off kind of bark. And it almost sounded as if he was attacking the smaller dog, because it was almost like he was like, shut up, like knock it off kind of thing. And I was just like, no, or stop, or I said something like that, because I was just like, I don't even know what to do, like as I'm walking. And that got the little dog like off of my ankles. And then I just got into the car, but I was like shaking, and I was like, oh my God, I almost got attacked by these dogs. I was only halfway through my route, and I was like, that was so stupid. I was like, that was the stupidest thing I could have done. I was like, I should have just not even delivered there. Here's the deal, you guys. You can think that your dogs are fine, but if you are not there, you have no control over those dogs. You have no idea how they're actually going to be, and they're protecting their yard. So, I mean, that's my fault. I'm in their yard. I should have just not even delivered there. But anyway, so I finished the deliveries that day, I finished early, but I was a lot more aware every time I pull up to a house. Like, is there gates? Are there animals? Are there possibilities that a dog could come out of the house? You know, maybe there's a doggy door, maybe there's a gate doesn't look locked or whatever. I mean, that little puppy that was out, he like jumped over like the little fence. So I mean, these dogs out there are crazy. So at that moment, I just decided I'm not delivering to horse properties anymore. I will refuse to do it. So that was scary. The other thing that was kind of scary delivering to the horse properties is that some of the houses are sketch, you know, like looking like a meth lab house or something like that. So I do have my mace and everything handy with me, and that's why my husband's like, you should have used it on those dogs. And I was like, I was just trying to get in the car. Like, it didn't even cross my mind to spray this dog with the mace. But you know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, so that's kind of like the scary stuff that I've encountered, was just almost being attacked by those dogs. That's kind of crap. So the bad parts, let's talk about the bad stuff. So the bad stuff, again, the horse properties. Not knowing if the animals are really secure. The roads being dirt roads, being really long driveways, or being one-way or dead-end streets. That's a bad, you know, just really feeling like you're jacking up your car, and just, it takes you longer. It takes you longer because you have to drive slower, and the houses are further spread out. So that's definitely a bad thing. The other bad thing is just getting on the schedule in general. Like I mentioned, I wasn't able to get on, I wanted to do Tuesdays. So I'm on the app Tuesday morning all ready to get on a shift. And I already knew, okay, I'm not going to get mornings because that's for all the actual like delivery vans and all that. I said, but okay, 2 p.m., like, that's going to be my thing, 2 to 5. I can do Tuesdays, that'd be great. So you're on the app all morning waiting for them, and usually between 8:30 and 9 in the morning was when the shifts or the blocks would come available. But I would be on there sooner, refreshing, and then 9:30 comes and I haven't got on the schedule yet, so I'm just like, okay, well, I guess I'm not on the schedule today. And so that starts to wear on you a little bit, because you're like, oh, I was ready to work today. Now I could have went and delivered DoorDash and then just been like, I still worked, but I was really like, I want to do Amazon Flex, you know. Then, you know, I tried the next day. So I ended up doing, out of the 6 deliveries, I had a 1 Tuesday, 1 Monday, and then the other ones were Thursdays. So I ended up, Thursday was pretty much like, okay, Thursday is, I guess, gonna be my day. After the dog incident, I did get on I got a block for a Sunday because it was paying quite a bit more. So normally I was getting about 57, 60 bucks a block, but this one was like 76, 78. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna just snag it. It's a Sunday. Ricky can come with me, my husband. He can see what I'm doing. We'll just knock it out in 2 hours real quick. He can help me find the box ahead of time. Like, it'd be just a fun little thing to do. So we get to the warehouse, and sure enough, they're sending me out to Whitman, which is 30 minutes away, and it's horse properties again. And I just said no. I said, I can't. I was like, can you give me a different route? And he's like, well, we're not supposed to. So you can cancel this with, you know, because I told him, I said, I do not feel comfortable doing horse properties anymore. I almost got attacked by 2 dogs last time. People do not, like, secure their animals properly. It's really stressful. I don't feel safe, and I don't want to do them. I said, if I got to take a ding on my rating or whatever, then I'll take a ding. And he's like, did you report this? And I said, well, I hadn't reported it because it happened like 2 days ago. But they said, you call support through the app, you know, explain to them, and then they'll drop this route from you, and then maybe you can pick up another one, because they had one more route, which was Sun City West, which I have done like 2 or 3 times, which I actually loved that route. I'll talk about that in the good. But so I get on the phone with support, and I just say, hey, I'm sorry, can you unassign me to this route? I don't feel safe or comfortable. You know, I explained the whole thing. They said, absolutely, no problem. Your safety is our first priority. So I thought that was really good. Customer service was great. And I didn't even get dinged on my thing. I wasn't able to pick up the other shift though, just because everything wasn't refreshing fast enough. And I'm sitting there in the parking lot over at that warehouse for almost a half an hour trying to get this all sorted out. And by that point, I was like, all right, I'm over it. Like, I don't want to deliver now. So then we just went home. So I would have had a Sunday. But for the most part, it seemed like Thursdays were the day. So the bad part was I couldn't get on the schedule the same time all the time. And so that was a little frustrating. One of the other bad points is that you do not know where you're going until you get to the warehouse and they roll that route up behind you. So that's a bad, because, you know, at least when you're picking up DoorDash orders, you can you can decline an order or whatever based on where it's going. Here, you don't really have a way of knowing. And then the other bad thing is just sometimes the locations of where you're going as far as the distance. So honestly, I told the people, I was like, if it's far away, but it's still into a regular neighborhood, I'm fine. I'll go drive that. I don't mind it. But if it's far away and it's in the horse properties, or even if it's close and it's in the horse properties, I'm like, I can't do the horse properties. But that's the thing. Like I said, I had that one day where I got sent all the way from Surprise to New River, which is like 40-something miles. And then you still have to deliver. And like I mentioned, you're still taking, you know, about 20 miles worth of delivering. So that's, you know, a negative, not knowing. And then the particular place I live in, our zones, we kind of go out pretty far. So there is that continual possibility of having one of those further routes. Now, one thing I did learn from the last experience was to look at the labels on the box first before scanning my route, so I can see the city that it's going to. And if I already know, hey, this is going to be a horse property area, I can just say, you know what, I'm not even going to scan the route and deal with calling customer service. I'm just going to go ahead and, you know, decline or, you know, cancel my route. You can cancel your route up to 45 minutes before your shift without being dinged any points or anything like that, but you can still cancel it at that point. So that's why I decided I would start looking at those ahead of time, so I would at least somewhat have an idea of what's happening. Okay, that's the scary and the bad, which might deter some people right off the bat, and you might be like, okay, I don't even want to try it. But here's the good. The good is, what I liked when you're delivering for the Amazon warehouses with the boxes, is that you go to one pickup location, you get all of your boxes, and then you drive to your location, and all of it's just one spot. You don't have to, go pick up from this fast food and deliver it, and then find a different fast food and deliver it, and you're not going this back and forth, back and forth. You pick everything up from one spot, one go. That was one of my pluses. The second plus is that once you are to your delivery area, all of the deliveries are within a very short distance of each other. So again, you're not driving as much unless you get one of the really far routes, right? Plus, or the other positive thing for me, is the fact that you do work for yourself and it is flexible, and if you have time every day, you could be on the app every day looking for shifts. Obviously I was only wanting to do one day, but you do have that freedom, and you also have the freedom of picking, do you want to do 3 hours or 4 hours? You have a little bit more flexibility there. So that to me was a plus. And the last thing was a plus for me was the pay. I average more per hour doing Amazon Flex than I did doing DoorDash or Instacart, with what I feel is a little, well, it's not less work than, say, DoorDash. DoorDash, you're not really scanning nothing. You go pick up the food and you drop it off, right? With Instacart, you're physically going grocery shopping. So this is less work than grocery shopping, right? Because you just pick up the boxes, but you still have to scan the boxes into your phone and get them into the car. So that is a little more work than DoorDash. But again, you're in one location, getting it all done first. You're not going back and forth and back and forth. So will I continue to do Amazon Flex? Well, we're in May, and my daughters are going to be heading on to summer break, basically that last week of May for June and July. So I will not be delivering for anything. Instacart, well, I'm pretty much done with Instacart. It's too much work. I won't be delivering for like DoorDash or Amazon Flex at all from that last week of May through June and July. For this particular month, for these next, 2 or 3 weeks for May, I still haven't decided. I was thinking about trying DoorDash. I think they had raised the minimum pay, but then I heard that they lowered it back down again. So I might do DoorDash one day this week, just to see if anything did change, and just to kind of give me like a reset. And then I might just do Amazon Flex like once next week, before heading on to our summer break, if you will. And that I will, like I said, I'm going to check the label ahead of time, and if it's sending me to Buckeye, Whitman, or New River, I'm not taking it. I'm not driving out to the horse properties anymore. Now, delivering to the Sun City West was really good. I like delivering there. The other thing is I've been keeping an eye out, because Amazon warehouses are hiring. They have a new app. I want to share that in a separate video with you guys. So I have been keeping an eye out about going back to the sort center once summer is over, and just doing, if I could get on a 3-day schedule, that would be great. But right now I'm only seeing like the 4 days and more being offered. So I'm thinking about possibly going back to the sort center if I can do like a 3-day shift as opposed to like a longer. Otherwise, I have also applied for my daughter's school, just doing the crosswalk, because I'm a stay-at-home mom. That's my job. I just like doing a little bit of these side things just to help bring in a little extra money. Currently, whatever I'm making is just going towards helping us pay off our teardrop trailer earlier, but it is nice to have a little bit of extra money sometimes. But I'm not stressed about it. Overall, I do like Amazon Flex. I think for me, it's, having more of a set schedule and being able to plan. I'm a planner, so I think I want to have something I can plan out a little bit more. So I don't know, stay tuned, we'll see what ends up happening. But thanks for watching. I hope this video informs you, or I hope it helps you in some way to decide whether Amazon Flex is right for you. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.